All right, guess who stopped by the house today?
What's up, Tai?
Mr. Mark Cuban. Everybody knows him. I like that shirt.
Yo, I called you. I'm so glad you wore it. Every day, everywhere we go, we always wear the same clothes.
It's all about the good life. What do you think, honestly, is in your life now? You're a billionaire. Everybody knows you from Shark Tank. You own the Dallas Mavericks, which is the coolest part. Anybody who owns a basketball team, that's the highest level for me. When did you know you were living the good life?
The day I was born.
Really? Did you feel that way?
No, I mean, yeah, I was like, Mom, chill, I got this.
I could see you as a confident baby. You become a billionaire. You hit the big B. This is like the holy grail. When I was in my 20s, I told one of my mentors, Al Nation, I said, I'm gonna go back to college because I'm a college dropout. And that time I was gonna go back. And he said, why? And I said, well, because people respect you if you have a college degree. He said, no, Tai, this is America, make $1 million. The highest step is make $1 billion. Right. How did it feel?
So fucking unbelievable, you would never, I can never explain it. It hit and I'm going, what? Bouncing around, screaming and yelling. Yeah, I can't tell you what I did next.
We'll do 5,000 to the charity of Smart Choice. Oh, that might be it. Oh! Yes! Oh! Books. What's your opinion? How important are they?
Oh, very important. If you're not curious, if you're not always learning, you're falling behind. You have to read, you have to learn.
I read Warren Buffett's pounding through 500 to 1,000 pages a day. He said he's old, so now he only does 250.
Yeah, I mean, I read as much as I can, hours, literally. If I'm not reading a couple hours a day, there's some little kid out there trying to kick my ass, but it's not gonna happen.
You ever seen that, I think it's John Calipari, he tells his students, like, when you go home from practice, there's some kid that stays in the gym. And one day you'll meet that kid on the floor and you're gonna lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the one thing in life that you can control is effort. So you need to know.
And another thing is double down on your own brain, because knowledge.
You know, I agree with that, yeah, absolutely.
If you buy, I mean, the return on investment on a book, on
I say that in my book, right. All it takes is one book to trigger something, and you're off to the moon.
Starting a business. Let's say today, you have to give your best piece of advice that you see. There's no universal advice that always works. But for those, because not everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, but those people watching who want to be an entrepreneur, what's the best advice in the smallest nutshell?
Find something you love to do, be great at it, and sell it, right? I say to people all the time, sales cures all. There's never been a business that succeeded without sales, right? So you've got find something that you really feel great about selling, and believe in that much. Do the homework to know. You've got to know more about your business than anybody else in the world. Otherwise, someone's going to kick your ass. Right. So know more about it than anybody else. Know that you can sell it, and go out and do it.
All right, welcome everybody to today's Book of the Day show. The great Mark Cuban stopped by, and we got a lot to talk about. This is a great privilege to have you here. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure, Tai. Thanks for having me.
And so, you know, we were talking about your book that's been on the bestseller list for how long?
Since 2011.
2011. And I'll tell you, the great thing about this book, the ability to say a lot in a few pages is hard. Let me tell you my favorite thing so far. Tell me what your take expand.
Sure.
You talk about sweat equity. My mentor, Joel Salatin, was like, when you don't have anything, this is when sweat equity is at a premium.
It's the best time to start a business. When you're a college kid, high school kid, right out of school, what have you got to lose? You know, when I started, as I say in there, when I started my first company, I had just gotten fired. I was sleeping 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor. I mean, what did I have to lose? So after I got fired, to be able to go out and start a company, it was easy. There was no downside. And so, you know, before you have bills, before you have credit card debt, that's the time to do it.
Best business pitch you've ever heard on Shark Tank? Favorite one?
Probably Simple Sugars, Lainey Lazari, because she was only 19 at the time and she just rocked it. She knew her stuff, she knew where she was going, she had her vision, and she had all the facts and strategies to back it up.
So I've heard you talk about destiny, how there has to be a huge experimentation cycle. You don't just wake up and go, my destiny is to be a restaurateur.
No.
So on one side, there's this experimentation phase, but on another side, there's natural temperaments. I mean, Michael Jordan had the body, he had the temperament of a champion, so he goes into sports. Do you think, they call that bounded rationality. Instead of saying, I could be every possible thing in the world, you kind of limit it and say, all right, I'm more of a math guy. Oh, I'm more of a people person. And then you try to find your destiny within that?
Well, I think they go hand in hand, right? Because the type of person you are, kind of points to the things you're good at. Are you 12? You're not going to know. Are you 16? You're not going to know. If you're 18, maybe if you have a special talent, right? You can throw a baseball 100 miles an hour. You can sing and your voice is incredible. You're a concert pianist. You're a chess grandmaster. If you have a specific skill set or talent that just immediately propels you to the top, you want to follow that. But I remember having a list. I still have it. When I graduated from college, I was getting ready to graduate, and all the different industries that I thought I might want to partake in. When you find something you're good at, go for it. And I also always say it's not about passion. Everybody's got passion for something, right? Don't follow your passions, follow your efforts. Because people say, I was passionate to play baseball. I was passionate to play basketball. Doesn't mean all of a sudden I was going to be good enough. But I found myself being really curious about business, being really curious about technology. And that curiosity is really what drove me. And I think, particularly if you're young today, curiosity is great. Always learning and trying to find new things and being curious about new things, because that's what leads you to that path. Trying to figure out in advance, that's hard because you don't know what you don't know.
I always say he or she who experiments the most wins.
I agree.
Thomas
100%.
Edison had almost 950 experiments before he came up with a light bulb.
It's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to fail, particularly when you're young. What the hell, go back to your room and make your bed because you didn't get that business right? Why not?
You talk about how your father was a great mentor to you. A lot of people don't have that mentor. It's easy to get off track if you were 18 and you had been listening to the hype and the media. And where do you think is the most likely place that you would go wrong, that you see people going wrong?
When I talk to kids today, the biggest challenge is they look for answers from other people. There comes a point in time where you've got to figure out the answers yourself. Because learning how to solve problems, learning how to find answers, being curious enough to find solutions on your own is where successful businesses come from. If you're always looking to say, well, what should I do? You're already have lost. For any 18-year-old, you want to be able to control your own destiny. You don't have to have the answers. It's okay if you fail. Right. I tell people all the time, no one counts your failures. You just have to be right one time. Then you're living large like Tai.
So you've got a cool app. You've got a cool concept. Cyberdust. So Cyberdust, here's the idea. We leave a footprint that could be used against us. So what's the mentality before you had Cyberdust?
There's two parts to Cyberdust, right? One is one-to-one or one-to-many messaging, right? When you send an email or text, the minute you hit send, you lose ownership of it, but you don't lose responsibility. Now,
Scandal, whatever,
right? But some people say, well, I don't say anything bad. On one hand, it's all about privacy. And what you'll find is when you say something on Cyberdust, because after you're done reading it, it disappears forever. It cannot be recovered no matter what. The NSA, the FBI,
it's done.
It's done.
So there's no servers out there holding.
There's no Hillary Clintons out there saving it on the server.
Getting in trouble.
It's gone, right? But the beauty of that is it's going to allow you to be more open and honest.
It's a little bit like Snapchat, but Snapchat's just pretty much photos.
Well, yeah,
and
plus Snapchat keeps everything.
Yeah, Snapchat, God, those
keep all your
Snapchat
texts,
guys,
yeah.
imagine what they have on their servers.
Well, yeah, they have all the chats that you can do on Snapchat. They keep
Yeah.
them all because they want to use them for advertising and other things.
Yeah.
So there's no security and privacy. And Snapchat's a great app, but it's different. The thing about Cyberdust is you want to be able to have an open, honest conversation with somebody. And think about when you write something on Facebook, you're thinking, okay, who else is going to see this?
Yeah.
Right? When you write something on Twitter, not only are you limited to 140 characters, but you're thinking, okay, who's going to rip me on this?
Yeah, yeah.
Particularly like you, right, where you've got a bunch of followers.
Yeah.
When you put it on Instagram, when you put it on YouTube, when you put it on Facebook or Twitter, you're going to get trolled to death.
You're always going to get a troll.
After this, if you download the Cyberdust app,
Yeah.
we'll have it so that it automatically adds Blog Maverick, which is my account.
Oh, nice.
And I'll answer all the questions that people ask that we couldn't answer. I mean, you'll ask me almost everything, Ty.
Yeah.
But if we miss something or you're curious about something, download the Cyberdust app. At Blog Maverick account, just ask me anything you want and I'll answer it. And I can give you an honest answer because it's not going to show up anywhere else.
That's awesome.
And the challenge today is because of low interest rates and other reasons, people don't trust the stock market. Even if, whatever you make, if you save your money, it doesn't do you all that much good.
Right.
You're
definitely not at 1% right
yeah,
now.
well, exactly right. And, most people don't trust the stock markets, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
So where are you going to put your money other than just in the bank, saving for a rainy day?
So what would you do? What do you recommend?
First thing you do is pay off your credit cards.
Okay.
Right. You always, because if you're paying 15, 17, 19%,
Yeah.
that's a guaranteed
It's tough to get
return.
out, yeah.
Right. That's a guaranteed return.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to get that much somewhere else. So that's number one. Number two, you want to save, 6 months worth of income for a rainy day.
Yes.
Number three, you want to be a smart shopper. Believe it or not, the best return, if you're making $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 a year, and I realize that's a wide range, but the best return you're going to get on your money is being a smart shopper.
Yeah.
All the things that you buy all the time that you're going to use over you. I mean, look, I get on Amazon, I buy a year's worth of toothpaste. I buy a year's worth of razor blades. I buy a year, just because I like to prove a point, right?
Right.
I get my 50% off.
So you haven't lost, even though you're a billionaire, you haven't lost touch with reality.
Oh, no, hell
right?
no, I can tell you, yeah, you don't want to. Because I want to keep my kids to see that too.
Right.
I don't want them to be spoiled.
Do you think it's an aspiration somebody watching or people should have? Billionaire, or is it go be badass at something? Or do you kind of couple them both together? Be badass, but a little position yourself to profit?
No, look, I'd be lying if I said, oh yeah, I knew I was going to be a billionaire, or I even thought it was possible. Never crossed my mind. I found whatever it took for me to motivate me. I would listen to motivational tapes or CDs. I would drive around looking at the big ass houses, thinking, what is that person doing that I'm not doing? What do I need to do to have a house like this? Because that's what motivated me. And for me, what really flipped the switch was I was never really into technology when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then as I got a job that used it, I found out I was good at it. And once I found out I was good at it, then it became a lot more fun.
Yeah.
When you're good at something, it's almost always fun.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And once it was fun, and I combined that with my business skills, then I saw, okay, I know how to make money at this stuff because I know how to sell. Now I know tech. That gives me something I love to do. And so, what I tell people, the key is find something you love to do and be great at it.
Yeah. Because
once you do that, it's all gravy for me. What's up, Meerkat? What's up, Periscope?
how are you guys doing?
Chris Sacka says hi. Somebody once told me, I remember this 9th grade teacher of mine, a social studies teacher, said the best marketing words ever written were on the bottle of a shampoo bottle.
Okay.
On the outside of a shampoo bottle. It says, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
You don't have to wash your hair twice. But people would do it. So yeah, so
rinse and repeat, and do you want fries with that?
Right,
Those two
right.
things made
Go
a
down in
lot
history,
of money.
right?
As supersize. But how do you, I call this, trend spotting, trend stacking. How did you cultivate that ability to see 15 to 20? Because there's a lot of money in figuring out being ahead of the curve.
No, and I've always been good at looking around corners. I mean, what I do is I try to learn as much as I can about technology, and you start to get an understanding of what the progression of technology is.
Yeah.
If you can watch and listen to multimedia on a CD in a PC, and now you've got the internet to connect them together, well, it just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote software programs way back when, where, you know, we would take pictures and integrate them into databases just because it made sense. You know, my very first company, Micro Solutions, everybody was selling just single one-off PCs, and I was like, look, at some point all these things are going to have to work together.
Yeah.
And so I was one of the very first people to get into local area networking and started writing, you know, multi-user software for local area networks and wide area networks. And that was way ahead of its time, but it allowed me to blow it up. And streaming was the same way. So I just look at technology and I say, okay, this is where we are today. These are the advances we can expect. This is the way people lead their lives now. If I was going to blow it all up and rewrite it from beginning, how can I take this expected technology to change the way people live their lives or change the impact of it?
The best thing you can do politically that will solve financial issues, health issues, if you could bring up the average base potential, we'd go from a $15 trillion economy to a $30 trillion economy. You could double the productivity.
There's no question, right? No, I agree with you 100% that, you know, our biggest problem is income inequality. And, you know, I know how to make money, you know how to make money. You know, there's a lot of people who do and there's a lot of people who don't.
But you're kind of the guy that might have pulled it off. You're like Elon Musk. You were in media, sports,
but I'm different. I mean, like Elon is a special character. He just has these huge visions, right? And he figures out ways to get there.
Yeah.
You know, and he knows the science and he knows how to sell. You know, I was more of a business guy that could combine business knowledge and technology knowledge to create companies. You know, I haven't ever run a 20,000 person, you know, company. Right. But I've run a ton of 100, 500, and 1,000 employee companies. And so it took me a while to really put together the pieces. It took me getting fired to finally just say, fuck it, go.
You've been fired a couple times, right?
Yeah, more than I can count. Wasn't a good waiter,
But you got the last laugh on that,
right?
Yeah,
right. A couple times, yeah. When I was poor, I was having fun. I've always managed to find the good side of things. So, you know, I've always felt good about myself. But at the same time, when did I really know I had it made was probably, you know, when we sold our company, when we sold.
You said you were refreshing the screen to see how much the stock was worth.
Yeah, when I had that first B by my name, then I knew it's just going to be different.
I like it. You got the shirts, the 3 comma shirts.
Yeah, 3 comma shirts, got a 3 comma apparel. You know, why 3 comma? How many commas are in a billion?
Not many people know that.
Now you know.
2 commas, that's child's play. That's right? Child's play for you. So I'm gonna throw some quick questions at you. Best book you ever read?
Fountainhead.
Oh, okay. I like it. Favorite musician?
Like any type of hip hop I'm into. I don't have like any one like favorite.
So hip hop's the favorite genre?
Yeah, I like hip hop.
Greatest of all time? Basketball.
MJ. Yeah.
Most underrated player of all time?
Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki, for sure. Let's take a few questions. Somebody said, I saw a comment that was interesting here. What do you think the future is in entertainment media? Where are we going? Are we going live? I've heard you talk about how like Ryan Seacrest talking about live streaming. Is that where TV's going? Well,
you know, bits are bits. And it doesn't matter what type of content they are. Once it's digital, it can transpose anywhere. You know, what people don't really realize is TV is streaming.
Exactly, yeah.
But the only difference is it's a dedicated network, so it never buffers. You know, it's always a perfect stream, or almost always a perfect stream. Whereas everything else, like this, goes over the open internet, so there's some risk associated, and it's not secure. But as far as the future, I think it's just going to depend on the quality of the entertainment. Yeah. So there's going to be a place for periscoping, you know, live streaming, regardless of who the provider is. There'll be a need for impromptu streaming. There's going to be, you know. We have Netflix, we've got all these different sources, all these different apps. But the point is, you're going to be able to watch what you want, where you want, and how you want it.
It's going to come There's a good book. Have you read this book called Vaporized by this MIT guy? Yeah. It's like everything is basically just unlocking. The way that they used to be able to sell you TV, you pay. He said in the history of buying things, there's never been a better racket than TV, where they can get you to pay for 800 channels and you only buy 5.
He's wrong. Right,
good.
He's dead wrong.
This is why Mark Cuban's at my house.
Here's why
he tells the truth.
Okay, so look at it this way. SportsCenter. Mm-hmm. Let's just say you can only stream SportsCenter from ESPN on your phone. You can't even get it on TV.
Right.
But you got to pay $3.99 a month for it.
Right.
But you don't want to pay $3.99 because you think that's expensive. You know what you're going to bitch about? Well, I don't watch hockey. And so
you're going to just want to go program by program.
Right, because a la carte, you can always find a way to break it down.
Yeah.
But look at Netscape. I mean, look at Netflix rather.
Right.
Right?
You pay for movies you don't see.
You're never going to watch.
Yeah.
Right? So you're paying $9.99. Why, if I only watch House of Cards, why shouldn't I just pay for House of Cards?
Right.
Right? There's nothing.
So a la carte, so this whole buffet style has a value to it, and that they can negotiate. You get the stuff
right.
cheap.
You get the, so if you know you're a big TV consumer, right, then the cable bundle is fine.
Yeah.
Right? Because, particularly what happens, age is relevant to your entertainment making decisions.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's why another reason why this guy's wrong, right? Because when you're 16 and you have all day to go on YouTube and search for everything. You get to college, a little bit less time, but you still got plenty of time. You want to look up this, you want to look up that, whatever type of videos you're into, cool. You get to that first job and you're busy all day long, you sneak it in. Right? Then you have kids, or you get married, you have kids, and life catches up.
You got 3 kids, right?
Right, I got 3 kids, right? You don't have the time for all that, and so it's good to have a valued curator to be able to say, look, here's some things that I think are good. Netflix does a decent job of that.
Yeah.
TV's still good for that.
HBO does a great job. You pretty much know if it's on HBO, it's going to be good.
But you know what? It's still,
But I still don't watch I watch 1/50th of the shows on it. I watch Game of Thrones, and that's it.
Well, yeah, but the same thing. You do the same thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
You watch 1/zillionth of what's on YouTube.
Yep.
Right? And how often do you take time? Now, if you get a link on YouTube or you're sending someone to your stuff, if you have something specific you want to look up, a TED Talk or whatever, you'll go on YouTube because that's the best video search engine.
Yeah.
But you're not looking for entertainment. You're not saying, you know what, I'm bored. Can I find something? But still to this day, you probably will turn on the TV and see what's on.
Right. It's still...
It's just easier. It's the path of least resistance. It's the best alternative to boredom.
So TV, you think, is going to be around a little bit longer than people think?
Even right now. So, computers have been around 30 years, right? We're not talking about the new, technological revolution. The internet's been around for 20 years. Yeah. Any kid that's, under the age of 20 grew up his entire life with the internet. It's nothing new anymore. So this concept of streaming and this being new, no. So what's happened is you've seen some disruption because the content's gotten better as people have learned how to monetize it. Yeah. And that's been great, and that's what we look at. But still, less than 3% of homes have turned up cable and become, cut the cord.
Yeah.
And now there's some cord nevers, people who don't get into it, but they haven't gotten to the age yet. You don't see 50-year-old cord nevers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you don't even see 40-year-old cord nevers. Because once you get to a certain point in your life, it's just easier to take the path of least resistance. I got HBO, I got Showtime, I have Access TV. Something's going to be on.
Yeah.
Because I'm certainly not going to spend the time to go searching through YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Netflix. I love Netflix, but the time it takes to go look for Netflix.
I just click on The Office.
Well, yeah, you have what you already want, right? House of Cards come out, Narcos is on, right? Cool. But then I look at the
you
current...
like Narcos?
Yeah, right?
Everybody likes Narcos. I feel like that show...
Hey, and look, I'm a huge shareholder in Netflix, right? I own a
you are? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I own a shitload of
Disclaimer.
But at the same time, it is what it is.
Right.
Right? The marginal cost for most households, for not most, but a lot of households, if you're a cord never or cord cutter, $10 is good for your entertainment value.
Yeah.
Right? Or 11, whatever it's going to be. And for people who can afford cable, an extra $10 isn't a big deal. So why not have it, right? It's, and so it's no big deal. And so it's a nice complement. It's not a replacement.
Yeah.
Now, Netflix is doing its best to, expand and be more original. And so you might, so they're competing with HBO because they're worried about HBO, right? Because maybe you can't afford to have HBO and Netflix. Right. But at the same time...
No, Netflix, I feel like, is cheaper.
Oh, it is. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. I feel like in that game of... If you have limited dollars, I feel like people are going to go with Netflix every time.
It just depends. You like Silicon Valley, right? I like the show Leftovers. So, I'm fortunate I can afford both. But that's the thing, right? As you get older, so when people talk about millennials, like, shit, if it ain't being done by the millennials, fuck it. It's not worth it.
Right.
That's just not it, right?
So all you millennials on Periscope with Beercat, that's...
You're
not as important as you think.
I'm going to tell y'all, Generation Z, my kids, they're coming up to kick your ass, right? They're going to be looking at millennials like people look at baby boomers or Gen X, right? It's just like, what is up with that, We got Periscope and Meerkat, which are the baby darlings of this new industry. Now,
You were doing this 20 years
20 years ago, yeah.
So they're way behind. They're way behind. But what's your prediction on Periscope and Meerkat? What are we looking at?
I think they're going to struggle.
Okay.
Sorry, Chris. And the reason is, if you look now, I mean, versus 6 months ago, you were always getting alerts. Everybody was doing a Periscope.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing a Meerkat, right? And then you might say, well, you know, people didn't like to do both, so one jumped to the other. But the challenge is, it's very difficult to get people to want to plan out and do a Periscope, right? Because it's very intrusive.
Yeah.
You've got to plan it. Now, this is perfect for you. You're using it in a perfect way, Ty, because, you know, you're doing an interview. It's easy to set up, and once you set up, you just do it. But for most people to all of a sudden just turn on their phones and point it at somebody, that's intrusive, you know, to their privacy, and then, you know, to you to do it for yourself and just talk on it. You know, you might as well just record it and put it up there, because, you know, the live nature has some value, but it's still intrusive to you. It's hard to plan to do that all the time.
Do you think it'll be more of an influencer tool then, like influencers who can, like Twitter in some ways, Instagram, these have evolved to these big influencers, Kardashian.
Well, because they're simple, right? Because Instagram is so simple, and Instagram was smart at the beginning. Not only did they make it simple, they made it when you posted to Instagram, you could also post to everything else, right? So it became a platform for simplifying and distribution, right? And so, but the challenge for Periscope and for Meerkat is, you're going to go as an active user, you're going to go where the most users are. Right? And so now we've got the challenge. Facebook has the most users, but they don't have the optimal distribution. Because they have algorithms that say you might have 2 million followers,
it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating, right? But organically, you got to pay to reach the rest. Instagram is a little bit different, but they don't have live. YouTube does live big events. They have all the users.
YouTube should do a freaking live.
Yeah, if YouTube did all this, or if Facebook said, all Facebook has to say is, we're going to give you 100% organic reach with any live video, and these guys are done. It's over. Right?
So you see the entrenched Facebook can come in and just knock them out.
Yeah, you know, and it's not so much that they have any special technology, and it's not that there's anything wrong with Periscope or Meerkat. They're both great products, right? They take advantage of phones. They take advantage of the simplicity. They're super simple. But at the same time, you know, you're either trying to reach your friends, or you're trying to reach an audience. You know, rarely are you trying to, you know, it's those are the applications. And Twitter is not really a friend-based network. You know?
Twitter has become a news feed.
It's exactly right.
And they kind of, that moments change. Have you seen this new
which is smart. But
it's pretty good.
It was great mood, and with video and everything, so they did really, really well. But it's still geared towards the old school PR newswire. Right? I have something to communicate to as many people as I can get to watch or read it, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Even Snapchat's doing the same thing, right? So if Snapchat added a live video component, what's going to happen to Periscope or Meerkat, right?
Because they have serious distribution and engagement. Young people use Snapchat.
And I don't think nearly as many in the United States as a percentage use it as people think. I mean, but it's still a huge population base, right? Even Tumblr, you know. So there's a lot of different ways to reach audience. Meerkat had the right first idea by leveraging Twitter's social graph, but they haven't extended it to everybody else's social graph. And Periscope won't, because it's Twitter, or most likely won't. So that's the catch-22. If you or I want to, on an impromptu basis, say, oh, this is amazing. There's 3 dolphins beating the shit out of a shark, you know, and there's Henry Winkler riding on their back, you know, then what are you going to use to reach a maximum number of viewers?
I probably would I would video and put on YouTube.
YouTube or Facebook?
Facebook. For sure. They got and Instagram, I'd snap stills.
Instagram has good distribution. Well, that's exactly right. You wouldn't inherently think, because it wouldn't be feasible. So what happens now is, this is a great interactive medium, and they've done a good job.
It's good for AMA. We're going to do a little AMA for you
and this
guys.
stuff is great, right? But it's on the margin, right? It's not core.
People ask me, what do billionaires do in their downtime? We're sitting here sweaty from playing basketball, catching up on email. You always work?
This isn't work. It's what I like to do.
What he loves to do. Joel Salatin told me, he said, Ty, if you have to take a vacation from what you do, never come back.
Yeah, that's I like that one.